Paxton Creek is an old stream. It's really the one that built Harrisburg. Although Harrisburg's at the Susquehanna River, it's Paxton Creek that provided the wood, the food, the water, the power for the industries that developed on the banks. But in the past half century, it's fallen into disuse. Farms have been displaced by houses with lots of amounts of impervious surface. And that means asphalt. And tremendous stormwater problems have resulted.
The major problems with stormwater are both water quality and water quantity in nature. In terms of water quantity, stormwater exacerbates flooding locally, and the Susquehanna River Basin is already one of the most flood-prone river basins in the entire nation, so we don't need any more flooding from stormwater. And of course, with water quality, anything that is washing off the surface of the land is carrying with it contaminants and pollutants, and so it is also a source of pollution, both locally and then as the water moves downriver to the Chesapeake Bay. The major issues in the bay are pollution from nutrients and sediment. Mandatory controls on the total maximum daily load have been set for the Chesapeake Bay, and all the states that are part of the Chesapeake Bay watershed are being required to basically do all we can from agricultural sources, from point sources, from developed lands, wherever we can get the reductions in loading, we need to achieve them.
Paxton Creek really has been no more in recent times than a stormwater drain, but has tremendous potential. And so we decided to try to fix the situation.
Pooling and ponding was just coming to this one area, and it was backing up onto the parking lot.
We were approached by the Paxton Creek Watershed Association about doing rain garden projects with the intention here of collecting water and letting it infiltrate into the earth rather than going downstream quickly and eroding more and more stream bank. We were able to host them and provide them with some equipment and some manpower to help them build this rain garden. It's worked very well.
It's amazing how much one parking lot area can generate as far as volumes of water. And this was one particular site where it was more dealt with in a traditional sense. This water would sheet flow across surfaces like this, pick up any sort of contaminant, sediment and such on the surface, and carry that to the creek, which is just along that tree line there. So what we wanted to do was to show sort of a new way to deal with the stormwater runoff. The object was to intercept and attempt to filter those pollutants out of the runoff prior to reaching to the creek. So we put in the bioretention bed. This bed is oriented to capture rainwater from the parking lot surface area and some of the sidewalks up gradient. It has an amended soil down to a 2 to 3 foot depth. So it serves as a reservoir for storage, a volume of water, but also the organic matter, and the root action helps to improve the water quality as it moves through this bed.
Before the rain garden was here, this whole area between the parking lot to the stream was constantly soggy. There's many times you couldn't even walk through it. This rain garden actually takes that water, lets it infiltrate inside the rain garden, and the area around it now becomes a more walkable, usable area.
What we aimed for with the simplicity of this particular project, both to implement as well as the materials needed, something that could be reproduced easily. A lot of the materials here, as far as the soil compost and things that were used to amend the soil, those were all materials that the township had on hand through their leaf collection programs and branch collection programs.
Rain gardens don't take a whole lot of maintenance. Probably have to go through some kind of a learning curve, but compared to the needs of the rest of the park to be able to do the maintenance of these rain gardens, which usually involves remulching and a few other minor things, this is not a big issue for us.
The Paxton Creek Stormwater Management Project is really intended to be a demonstration largely of technologies and techniques that can be used to manage stormwater locally and that have applicability elsewhere in the Chesapeake Bay watershed.
We actually were capturing a lot more of Continental Drive than we ever initially thought due to the grading. It was, when it would rain.
What we're trying to do is to really give people practical information about how to implement stormwater management in different types of settings.
Each demonstration site, we had a specific sort of goal in mind, both from a management perspective as well as from an educational and outreach perspective. Right now we're at Centennial Acres neighborhood. So this was an example of demonstration project where we're targeting the residential setting. We do a site evaluation, so we look at all the potential opportunities. And in the cases of the residences here, the two primaries are, since they're up against the creek, to establish or enhance some buffer distance between the creek and the property. The other part of it was rooftop disconnection to direct it to a rain garden or bioretention bed. For this particular site, we're collecting rainwater from the lower roof. It comes down a drain pipe and into this bed. So we designed the rain garden here to account for what volume of water would be coming off during a typical 1-inch rain event. In the case of these neighborhood settings, we had to deal with some restrictions on the homeowner's part with not taking up too much of their property. So where we weren't able to have a larger feature, we compensate by having a deeper soil amendment so that actually the storage volume was realized through depth.
Before we had this done, it wasn't ugly here, but it wasn't exactly pretty either. And we were having problems with the downspout runoff coming down the hill here. It was making a gully. It was hard to mow it, and it was getting worse and worse every year. I wanted to beautify my yard, but the idea of being able to help the Paxton Creek runoff problem, that really appealed to me too. They asked me basic questions like, what am I looking for? Am I looking for a landscape that would fit in with the surroundings? Or did I want wildflower meadow or boulders and more of an outcropping? So they gave me a lot of different options and I had the final say. I don't feel like I gave up anything. I feel like I gained a tremendous amount. It was a win-win-win for me.
The households that we worked with, a lot of them had some connection with the creek to begin with. Maybe didn't fully understand what their local impacts may have been with their lawn practices and things like that, but after some education, they really started to make the connection.
We need to infiltrate stormwater at each and every home, each and every yard, each and every road, and so forth and so on. But it's going to take municipalities to require it, to enforce the regulations, the people to cooperate. We can't continue to go on developing the way they did in the past if we are going to get the water quality that we want.
Folks start to appreciate the importance of stormwater when they have an understanding of why it's important locally. What does it mean for my stream, my watershed? Education continues to be very important to let people know the practical things that can be done in order to manage stormwater. And if they understand it's going to help make things better and to improve water quality, then they're going to be more motivated to do what's right.
Here you have a creek that has a real potential to be more environmentally sound. It's going to have better water quality, you get better wildlife usage out of it, and we think this is really great for the environment. We certainly want to be that kind of good caretaker of the land.